Are your cards insufficiently shuffled? Are you using Minecraft Bedrock? Would you like them to be shuffled and play in the game? Well, if you do, I got great news. We've got the Minecraft Bedrock Shuffler thing. Okay, I didn't really think that bit through. We've got the shuffler working in Bedrock. Now let's go and see what it looks like. Ow. So as well as needing to update the water stream and raise it so that we have the stumble line coming back, I also needed to go and update all the item filters so we have the new cards in, because the old cards won't work. And all I'm doing to do this is taking the old named iron nuggets out, and I'm putting it through this crafting bench and creating the new card and putting it back. And here I'm just updating the Shulker unloader to Silent Whisperer's design for Bedrock. This is a very reliable system. I've tested this for several hours and it is reliable. Okay, so here we are by the updated shuffler, and one of the first things you can probably see is our hopper design is here. So we mentioned last time that in Bedrock we have the advantage and the really cool thing that we can sort of push and pull tile entities and hoppers, so we can push that in. This has been reliable. We've run this in a test world. There's no items getting stuck in this. And the way this is working is when we call for a card, there's 40 minecarts here, or hopper minecarts. That goes in just for long enough to pull one card through and then drain one card out. And that's how we get one card through the system, and then that goes down there and gets played. So there's a whole bunch of item sorter type modules there which will detect the card, pull it in. So if we get a stumble, it'll go through the stumble line and cause the stumble effect and sounds. And then what we've had to do, again, we mentioned this last time, in Bedrock we couldn't read from a chest with a boat with a chest. We couldn't read that directly on top of a hopper minecart, so we've had to put an additional block there to make that work. And to make that work as well, we've had to put an additional dropper to shuffle items back up. Over here, it's pretty much the same design as before. We're detecting items as they go through this bottom dropper. This is then powering this block here, which then powers that piston, which then creates an observer clock, and this observer clock then pushes all the items up to the chest boat, and that kind of works. We have the drainage system, so we've moved that round, so when the game finishes, I'll just show you what that looks like with a bit of excellent parkour. Yeah, excellent parkour. So on this side, all we've done is we've moved this torch and this up slightly. So we've done a bit of sort of wrangling to get the redstone up to the right place, and we've had to move some of these chests and hoppers around. But this all works. So when this gets powered, this will drain all the items down and they'll get spat out over there into the water stream and go back to the player's shulker box. The other things we've had to do is to accommodate moving this up. We've had to move this this line up. So before the hopper lines were going straight through here, so we've just put an additional dropper there with a clock on it. So we can't see that from this side. Hang on, let me go around the other side. So what that does is that just detects the item. It's a standard clock, and that'll push them up into this line. We've also had to move the stumble line around, so when stumble cards get played, they come out of here. We've moved that counting system up to the top there, so we've had to move that up a few layers, about 3 or 4 blocks. So when these get played, these come down here, and these go and join the hopper line that goes into the shuffler. We've also had to move the counting system, so when cards get counted in and counted out. So we've just had to move that, and it's a little fiddly, and we've had to change how these work because these elements were using a Java technique that we don't have. So it all kind of fits. I've moved all the labeling as well, so you can see there just about that's our clock, and I've just moved the clock like for like up to the top. We've had to move this water stream as well, so we've had to raise this a few blocks, and that is about it. So that moves the shuffler, and then right at the other end, if we shoot ourselves down here, skill, this unloader doesn't work, so we've got a design, and also there's some redstone down here, and this doesn't work. So I can kind of show you what this redstone's supposed to do if I can find my box here. So this is the game on, and what's supposed to happen here is when the game turns off, which I've just indicated there, there's a pulse that goes through here, and the items move backwards and forwards, and that does a countdown, and at the end of that countdown, it tells that piston up there to break the shulker box. So that basically gives enough time for all the cards to get drained out of the system, get in that shulker box, and get broken. But as you can see, this doesn't work, of course. This would never work in Bedrock because the piston tends to get powered and pulse if the redstone dust's on the other side. So it's a bit strange, but I can show you. I'll show you now. I'll go through this and I'll update this. Okay, so let's look at how we would do this. So this is really just sending a pulse. You may be able to hear in the background some fish noises. So what it's certainly getting up there is, and they're hitting these pressure plates, which are doing some counting, is we're getting fish in the water stream with bones, and I think we're getting items, so I think that's going to cause a problem. So that's something else to look at another time. But for now, let's get I think if we get a dropper and a hopper, not got enough things here, so we put a dropper there with a hopper, then what we can do is just put, let's just put an item in there and cover it up. So what that should do now at least is, in fact, let's move that over one more. I think we can do this better. So yeah, if we put a dropper there that's going to get powered, we put an item in it, and then if we have a hopper going into it, so I think that will now power on and off. So to give us a pulse, we need comparator should do it. I don't know whether that will do the draining in here. So let's we've got this redstone torch. So that should move over. Yep, that moved over. Aha, we're counting items here. Now this bit's not going to work. But what that should do is that needs to send another pulse, and then we want to break that shulker box. So I think we're going to need to change some stuff up there as well. So I think the way we could do this is with a sticky piston. If we have one, yeah, we've got loads, and an observer. So if we put a sticky piston there, let's get rid of that block there, and we put an observer on that, so that will get pushed over. Let's put a solid block there. Okay. Oh, that was good timing. Or not good timing. Ah, no, it needs to be... Right, let's test this and see if this works. So we got our redstone torch. Put this on here. Power the line. So the game is now on. So that break it. That'll push that over. That is reset this. And then what we want to see is a pulse out the other side of this block when this timer runs down. So it's quite a long timer. Okay, so that timer's coming to an end, so we should see a pulse coming out of... Perfect. And that's going to break a block there. And you can see that there's a tropical fish up there. I don't know why we've got so many fish. I don't know if this is something that's in the Java version. I can go and have a look if this biome just had a load of tropical fish, but it looks like that's going to be something that we're going to get a lot of. So we might... There's loads of these guys. So they're going in hoppers and pressing pressure plates. So any pressure plate down here that's doing a job to detect cards, we're going to have to change that. And we're probably going to have to put a filter in here for fish and also look at alignment. So the other thing around here is we want to do is we want to change this. At the moment this locks a hopper, so we're going to change this around. So I think what we'll do is we'll just that noise is really annoying. And a fish. So instead of locking a hopper, what we're going to do is we're just going to move this hopper down so it can't drain. Yeah, this is going to be slightly fiddly. I want to go in there. So what I want to do is have this hopper one block lower. So doing this and talking is pretty tricky for me. And then I'm going to go in there and I'm going to put a dropper on the bottom of there. So we've moved this all down by 1. Okay, I think we're going to change all of this anyway. So that means when the shulker box gets put there, so there'll be a shulker box kind of where that red wool is there. And when the items are draining in, they're not going to drain out until that gets broken. And we'll break that by having a piston. There we go. So now when that gets broken, it's going to fall down to there. And we'll probably want another bit of glass. There. And then all we need to do is power that piston when this line comes on. So let me just tidy this up a bit. Okay, so we can test this again. Game goes off. It sounded like it powered up there. So what I noticed here is I think I'm concentrating so hard on ignoring that fish noise because it is driving me insane. I should have just lowered the noise. Then I just stopped talking. So what I'm doing here is I'm just adding a clock. So we're just going to detect what's in that dropper. And so I'll break a couple of blocks, place down a few basic blocks. And all I'm going to do is put a comparator, a repeater, and then return into a target block, which will go next to that piston, not piston, the dropper there. I don't have all my stuff, so I'm going to have to go and get a few things. But that's all I'm doing here. And then here I'm just taking out a line. I wasn't really sure what this did. There was a pressure plate and it seemed to be connected to the piston. So every time an item went over the pressure plate, it would fire the piston, which seemed wrong. And also with having the fish in the system and dying, that was getting triggered a lot. So I've just decided the best thing to do here is just to remove that and keep it simple. And then we've just got this reliable clock system here. Obviously I put down the wrong stuff. I need to put down a comparator, and bam. So now we have an item that will always fire every time a item goes into it, however it gets into it. So fish stuff gets in there, it'll always get fired out. So we shouldn't get a backlog in the system. Okay, so now we should be able to take a deck of cards, put it in the top, cancel the game, and we should see our cards coming back. So let's try that first, and then let's let all of our cards run through as they would for a game, and see if they come back as well. So let's test a failed run first. So we'll put our cards in, we'll give it a little time to process in the system, and then we'll go and press the button to say I died in the dungeon. We'll wait and see if we get our cards back. Okay, that looks like it worked. We've got our deck of cards. Let's just take a look. And we've got all of our cards. That's fantastic. And now let's test a successful run. So to do this, we'll go and put our cards in again in the top. That'll get broken. And now we need to let some of those cards play. We won't be able to hear them because we don't have the sound system working yet. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into the dungeon. We're going to go into the winning room. We're going to put an artifact into the system, one of the old artifacts, and then that should trigger the game to say the game has been successful. We'll go down, we'll die, and we'll see if we have our deck of cards at the top again. So we're going to put an artifact into the system, wait for the doors to open, and then we're going to go in and we're just going to complete the game and go back up to the top, and then we should see whether we've got our deck of cards back or not. Maybe with fish, maybe without fish. Let's see. Okay, and let's see what we've got. Maybe we've got some fish, maybe we haven't. Let's have a look. Aha, we have some fish. So now we have an end-to-end working card system. So we can put cards in our deck. We know they're going to get shuffled. And most importantly, we know we're going to get them back at the end of the game. Next time, I want to take a look at how we're going to play level 1. And to play level 1, we're going to need compasses, because we need to find artifacts, and artifacts. So it looks like I'm going to be in Blockbench again for a little bit. So that's it for today, and see you next time, hopefully soon. Bye.